Hey everybody! On this episode of Gaming and Collecting, me and Alex are returning once again for another episode of covering all the Bratz movies. Hooray. Yeah, this is the second part of three, and oh boy, they don't get any better. But anyways, guys, on with the episode. So how you
Like,
been?
so, what I don't know if it picked up on the mic or if you heard it at all. I didn't hear it with my headphones in, but freaking walkout. We're taking a break in between. We just recorded our last one. We just took a break. I went to feed the pooper, my cat, and then I walk into the stairwell because I'm upstairs. And I step on something squishy. Freaking hairball.
Oh, at least it wasn't a poo.
Thank God it wasn't. It looks like poo though, because of her fur color. It literally looks, and the texture, it looks like fucking poo. But it's a fur ball. I fucking stepped on it. I almost threw up.
I did hear you go. I heard you go, ugh.
Yeah, because I stepped right in it. I didn't know it was there. So she must have it wasn't there before. So she must have yacked up her fur ball. Well, the podcast we were potting, and now I feel so bad. But I fed her and she was fine.
I'm sure she's happy now.
She was fine, but I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, I took her to the groomer yesterday, and that was an eventful day. I don't know. It just felt like everything was going off, and she had a bad time, and I felt bad.
I was throwing up well, I never threw up, but I was sick in that morning.
Yeah, Bill was sick. He ruined our Cracker Barrel experience. No, it's fine.
I mean, I ate it later, and it was good.
Yeah, but I'd really eat, but well, you weren't eating, and the server probably thought you didn't like the food, and it was. I felt so bad. I was like, no, he just doesn't feel good. But it's fine. Yeah, but she had a bad time at the groomer, so I have to get her a vet appointment to give her basically some anxiety medicine before she goes to the groomer. Just to make the experience more pleasant. Cause she I sent you the photo of her with
The
D
shed.
shed.
She looked miserable.
She looked miserable, but it's also she needs to get all that hair off though. It is especially with all the hairballs, it has to happen. So the groomer is for her health and safety, is the main part. But I just wish she wouldn't be so scared. Oh.
I mean, she's a lot better than she was, but oh boy, when she has to do anything outside of the house.
Oh yeah. No, and she's been my buddy. She's very clingy. If I'm upstairs, she's upstairs hacking up hairballs. But I was just like, no. But I fed her. She is fed. The world is good. I've already chatted with you about this, but I'm still upset about the Lilo and Stitch live action. How they just kind of forgot the whole point of the movie.
They didn't. They needed Vin Diesel to tell them about family.
Apparently not. I'm still I mean, spoiler warning, but they changed the fucking ending, and they made Nani basically give up Lilo to Child Protective Services, and she goes to college. I'm like, what the fuck? The whole point is Ohana is family. And I was listening to they made Jumba the villain, and he's supposed to be the fun uncle at the end, the fun scientist uncle. That was his role in the end. He was never the villain. He was the anti, just trying to fix it. He was trying to. And they always have to pick some stupid celebrity to voice someone, and I'm like, this isn't Jumba. This is some weird man in Jumba's body. Yeah, I watched the clips of him talking. It looks weird. It doesn't fit. His voice does not fit Jumba at all.
And most of the side characters were missing, apparently.
Yeah, and they just made dumb instead, remember Bubbles?
Cobra.
He was the CPS worker / agent.
Yeah.
Galactic agent. So he's just an agent, and he doesn't give a shit about Lilo. Instead, they made a different social worker. And then rather than Lilo hanging out with Nani just yells at her for like instead of like Nani going, "It's not your fault, Lilo," like she goes, "Yeah, it's all your fucking fault. I hate you." Like, did they like? Why do they keep hiring people that don't enjoy the movies they're based off of?
Because Disney is creatively bankrupt, and they are rather than
It
make
apparently
new
made its money.
ideas.
Yeah.
Well, because people probably want to go hate watch it, but
Not Snow White. No one went to see that.
yeah. Did Snow White come out at the same time as something else?
No.
Trying to think, because I know like
No, Snow White was just everyone just didn't want to see it. They didn't want it. It's so funny. But
because
this
I know
one
like
people
the
actually were excited about, and then they just weren't.
why every live action
Well,
Disney
think
thing
about it. Like if any of them were gonna have a chance, it was gonna be this one.
I don't know. Every live
Well, because
action
like
Disney.
sci-fi movies have been able to like be successful with like using CGI. Like for the most part, they have been able to be successful. So this one had the best running chance.
I guess I don't know. I just the whole Disney live action experiment. Every one
Well,
of them
I
I've
agree.
seen. I've just been like, no, like why are we doing this?
The only cool ones are when they like when they're not really Disney. Like I like the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderlands, but that was just so Tim Burton that like it was barely Disney at that point.
Yeah, I mean, but then Tim Burton isn't always a success though, because then we also get Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which
Oh,
is
what are you talking about? That's a great movie.
fuck them. The kid is so fucking perfect in that movie. I want to punch it because it's
Yeah.
like no child is that fucking perfect.
I know, I'm just goofing.
Ugh.
I'm goofing. Ugh.
Which is sad too, because it's more accurate to the damn book. But the original movie is just that. Anyway, moving on from that. We've established.
We can do the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory trilogy. It's three of them.
There's three. Oh, jeez.
You didn't know? You've never seen the third one?
No.
With that actor who's like dating a Kardashian? I don't know. Oh no, it's Jenner. He's dating a Jenner. I don't know. I forget.
Same fucking thing.
Timothy Chalamet.
I don't know who that is.
I didn't really know about him until he was Willy Wonka, and it was a musical.
Isn't that the one that's just called Wonka?
Yes.
Okay, I saw that and I went, ew. Like the Gene Wilder film is the best one.
I actually will say, I watched Wonka and I did enjoy it.
But the Gene Wilder film is still better.
Yeah. But I would say like Gene Wilder, like the original, then I'd put Wonka, and then I'd put the remake.
Yeah. But basically what we've been trying to say with this whole thing is that Fast and Furious is better than Lilo and Stitch. Anyways, moving on.
Family. Bill's been watching too much Fast and Furious.
I've finished them now, so I just think it's funny anytime you bring up the meaning of family. I'm just like Fast and Furious.
Did you start watching any anime or?
No, not really. I've been
fake fan.
Oh yeah, totally. No, I've been catching up on some manga. Oh yeah, we went manga shopping because like stores don't give a shit about release dates. We found
no,
the next
they really don't.
The next Kaiju number 8 came out like a month early, so that's fun.
Yeah. Hey,
Alex got Steel Ball Run.
I did get that. Yeah. Well, I was watching ReZero, and I paused season 2 to then just watch Welcome to Demon School Aruma because I just fucking love that show, and like I haven't watched it in a while because last year I was just really determined to watch a bunch of new shit, but this year I'm like, I really like this show. I'm gonna rewatch it. it. It's just so good. It's so fun, and I just love it. Love that show. Love Room. I can't wait for season 4. I'm like, I'm dying to have it. Give it now. I want it. Yeah. If you need a good comedy, like it's not serious, it's a comedy, but it actually has a pretty good story and wonderful characters. Like, Welcome to Demon School Aruma. Just watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
Don't take it seriously though. It's not meant for that.
Yeah. Other than that, nothing really too crazy going on. Yesterday was the biggest day in racing. My driver won the
500.
The Weenie 500 did happen, and that was amazing. So, fun fact: a member of the Superpod Network, Mo, we were talking in the sports channel, and a while back, they had made a joke about the only way they'd ever get into racing is if there was a bunch of souped up Wienermobiles driving around the track. And I had jokes saying that they did sponsor NASCAR and there was like Wienermobiles, someone involved. But then we legit had the Weenie 500, which was legit the 6 active Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles driving around the Indy 500, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it was the most amazing. It's 10 minutes. It's the quickest watch you'll ever watch. But like the commentators take it so serious, but make hot dog puns the entire time.
That's great.
It was great. It was honestly like a breath of fresh air. But yeah, racing happened. I was up till the race didn't end yesterday until like 11 at night. So I was up late last night.
Ugh. I can't stay up late anymore. Well, I had gone for. Did I bike yesterday? No. Yesterday was just hectic because I had to bring Pooh to the groomer, so I didn't really do much yesterday. I cleaned my closet on Saturday, which like needed to be done because it was like clothes off, like you couldn't see the floor. It was bad, so I had to clean it. But now it looks great. I deep cleaned it, but
yeah, I guess although we could use that to pivot, I guess, into our topic for this episode because
wait, what are you drinking, Bill? Don't do your disgruntled side. I can hear it now. I love it.
I'm still drinking the same thing I was drinking last time because I haven't finished it yet.
Liquid Death. What flavor?
Cherry Obituary.
Oh, bitch, you worry? Give us
it's
a
like
fact.
It's like Bitchcraft, your favorite manga.
Oh, fuck you.
Hashtag death to plastic. We donate a portion of every profit from every can sold to help kill plastic pollution. There you go. That's your fact.
Nice. Aren't you going to ask me? I'm drinking. Well, I still have my water. But I grabbed a drink because I felt like I needed it after stepping on a hairball. I am drinking a Down East guava passion fruit unfiltered craft cider.
Oh, Alex is drinking and I'm not for once. That's a first.
And look at that. It's a great drink because it has the nutritional facts on the can. That's how you know. The serving size is 1 can. It contains 165 calories, 0 fat, 4 milligrams of sodium, 14 carbohydrates, 14 grams of sugars, and 12 of added sugars, and protein is less than a gram. Government warning. According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages during pregnancy. Well, I'd hope not. Ingredients: water, hard cider, fresh.
Oh, it's got water. Perfect. You can hydrate at the same time.
Fresh pressed apple cider, sugar, passion fruit juice from concentrate, guava juice from concentrate, natural flavors, lime juice flavors from concentrate. You know what's funny is Bill's letting me say this because he's delaying the inevitable of what we have to talk about today. He's not denying it. Natural color and sulfites to preserve flavor. What?
I love when you get a word and you're like,
It's gluten-free. It's 12 fluid ounces, which is 355 milliliters, right. And it's 5% alcohol per volume.
Get one more. Wait. Get one more, and then we're done.
Okay, the barcode on the side reads 50046.
No. Music done. We're moving on.
The king, you let me read it all. You're delaying the inevitable because you don't want to talk about what we have to talk. We wasted almost 15 minutes. What the fuck? I thought it was only like 5 minutes. So, Bill, are you a brat?
I need a fucking drink. I'll be right back. You stall. You stall.
Are you actually leaving? All right, guys. So today we're gonna make fun of Bill. What should we make fun of? Well, he has a bunch of fucking weeb shit behind him. And his waifu Jeff Gordon. His waifu Jeff Gordon's right there. Look at him. Ew.
We got to talk about Bratz. I'm getting white girl wasted.
What? Wait, Bill, you have to redo the bring the
Nope.
music back. No.
Nope.
No, bring the music back. You have to.
Nope.
You
We've
can't
already.
just say that. You have to at least bring the music back and tell them what you're drinking at least.
Fine.
That's fine. Tell them what you're drinking.
Drinking a White Claw tail.
A White Claw tail? What is that?
It's a White Claw, but it's more like fruity. They're honestly not very good. I won't buy them again, but
but white girl wasted.
This is a joke I've made on like 3 podcasts now,
Cheers.
and I'm just gonna keep going.
Virtual cheers, Bill. Ooh. Cheers.
Okay, so where were we? Bratz, yes.
Bratz.
So this is part 2 of 3 of this wonderful retrospective that Alex started saying this will be great, and then immediately regretted all of her choices.
I didn't realize how fucking shit they were. Oh my god!
And how much they get worse and worse.
They do get worse every time. It's so like, really makes me sad.
For this episode, once again, preface, we're only covering the adult teenager ones because
we ain't looking at the babies.
The baby ones are horrifying, and the kid ones we just don't care. So for this one, we are covering
Bratz really rock.
Yeah,
Girls really rock.
Girls really rock.
Pampered Pets.
Pets, Desert Jewels, and Go to Paris the movie. We're also going to talk a little bit
about Wilderness.
Well, we're going to talk. Wilderness is just the fucking TV show, as we discovered. But
I can't believe we watched 5.
Yeah, we sure did. We had to do this in 2 sittings because fuck, the first one was so bad that we fucking set up Alex's Annie list during it.
Yeah. We barely paid the fucking attention, but honestly, I could probably still tell you the full plot, even though we barely paid attention.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Bratz Girls Really Rock. We've already had. They became rock icons. Yasmin was a villain for some reason in the first one.
There was genies.
We had genies. We had pixies. They're truckers.
Yeah.
So for
this
one
time, we're going to summer camp.
Yeah, this time they remembered these are fucking teenagers. We're going to summer camp, and it's a musical. Because that's totally what we needed for this.
Yeah,
you forgot about the musical. Well, I remembered that because every time a song would start playing, we'd just be like, I need more Annie list.
Oh my god, and all the songs are terrible. But basically, plot of this one is the girls go to summer camp, and there's this bitchy dancer girl, and she's kind of a bitch. And there's like a big performance, and there's a mean teacher, and she's being a bitch because the teacher's mean to her. And they're basically like, you should have fun instead. And she's like, oh my god, I should have fun.
And then she becomes Dylan's Girl of the Week. Cam's not here because he's still sitting on his cuck
they
chair.
Killed Cam.
No, he's on his cuck chair. He's on his
They
cuck
tied
chair.
him up. He's in the basement. And that's really
But who was the other guy that was like not Cam, basically, for this movie?
Remember his name. Like
I don't
even remember who he was. I think
just
there was
remember
also a side plot with like fashion. Like there's a fashion designer, and like Jade was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be a fashion designer," and the girls were like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah,
because anytime one of them succeeds more than the other, they like turn on them, which is like really bratty.
Also, this movie like forgets that they're fucking magazine moguls.
Yeah, and also rock stars. Like they're going, and part of the thing they're going to camp for is like singing and dancing. And I'm like, haven't you like been in a band and on stage and performed already? And what's the point of this camp?
And you'd think that this might just be a standalone, like separate continuity one, but no, the Tweebles show up. So I mean, it definitely is in the same continuity.
The Tweebles also went to camp, and they become the bitchy ballet girls, like little assistants at first, and then they like ditch her because she like wants to be a brat.
You know what the funniest thing about this movie is, though?
What?
Besides the obvious like musical shit and like all that, this is like a perfect representation of how camp is, because this is literally what happens. You show up, you end up hating each other, and then you make up, and then stupid shit happens.
Yeah, no, that is pretty accurate, I will say.
The problem is though it's the Bratz and it was a mess. Um,
Yes.
the plot in this one though is literally the most inconsequential because anytime something happens, they have musical number.
Oh my
Then
god! And like, could you remember a single song from this?
no,
I couldn't tell you
it's
because
not.
they all
It's not.
sucked.
It's really hard to do a musical season or movie of any franchise. Like the only time I can think of that where it worked was like Total Drama the World Tour because
Yeah,
but those songs were actually kind of good for what they were.
yeah.
Um
This one was just, we need to stretch this movie out.
I
Song.
can I can remember more fucking Sonic Underground songs than I can from this movie.
Yeah.
So
I
that
mean,
that tells you
my
that
Annie
tells you
list
how
the whole time. But
yeah.
yeah, but like this one, like I didn't grow up with this one. So
No,
basically
this was the first one that was
all the
truly
ones I had
post.
nostalgia for, we've already watched. So all of these I have no nostalgia for. But honestly, even like because most of these were made to sell one of the dolls, and I'm assuming it was the ballet girl was the separate doll they were selling. And like, but honestly, like I don't remember.
No.
I didn't have that
Um
doll.
yeah, well you were this was 2008. You were because I know after the live
Yeah, I
action
think
film you were starting to fall out.
yeah. Can't wait to talk about that. We gotta find it.
Yeah. Um, so this one was real annoying to be honest. Like this movie just kind of happens.
Yeah,
We did determine a few things though, like with the characters, like because their arcs have been kind of steadily been established. Like a running joke we had throughout this was the fact that like after like the first movie where they just character assassinated Yasmin for no reason,
yeah,
we made a discovery that she really does fucking nothing
yeah.
in every other movie. Like
This
she
is
is
like the
the
first one where it really stood out though. Like all the
yeah
other girls had something. Like Jade was doing the fashion thing.
Chloe.
Chloe was being Chloe. Sasha was being Sasha, but
Well,
Yasmin's just kind of there.
the thing that I've noticed with these is Chloe's kind of the main character one that gets the most spotlight because she's the
Mm.
blonde one.
She's the closest to Barbie.
Yeah. Um, Sasha's the one that gets shit done and actually is competent most of the time. And
Mm.
then Jade is like she tries to be competent, but she usually fails a lot and then ends up being the most successful by the end because she just has like that grit, I guess.
Yeah, and the talent. A lot of the times it ends up being fashion related, and she's the fashion one.
Yeah. Yeah. But and then Yasmin literally her gimmick is she's good with computers, but she never
Yeah.
does anything after that
Yeah.
first movie.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Dylan's there as comic relief because Dylan has his girl of the week, which was the ballet girl this week.
Yes.
Um,
I'm really
yeah,
trying to remember like who the other guy was.
is
I
it
also feel
bad?
like oh, you
Well,
go.
he was basically just Cam with darker hair, and he like literally was just in the background.
Was it? It wasn't Bryce.
No, Bryce never comes back.
Dice. We'll just call him Dice.
Well, because we
Dice.
thought it was Cam until they said his name. I think his name was
And
like
then
Noah or something.
oh, I think it is Noah. I think it was Noah. It was
'Cause,
probably to sell another guy Bratz doll.
yeah, poor Colby.
Cam's weren't selling well, I guess.
Even though he was the original, but either way. Um,
And I also remember too, this was one of the ones where like the animation kind of started looking a little scary
well, it's
or
weird.
derpy. Like
It,
they
it,
looked very derpy at times.
it's weird because there was an animation bump, but the models like look worse now with it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of the times, like when they're not doing on something on screen, they just have that like stare with a smile, and it's just like, okay, can you not do that face? It's
Well,
a little terrifying.
this was also the point where you realize really fast every character is the same model, just with different hair and like coloring
Different hair, eye color, and makeup.
and skin tone.
Yes.
Which, fun fact, the skin tones fluctuate wildly because there is a point where Sasha turns white. Sasha turned white at one point, and
Yeah.
I was like, how
There
did they
was
screw that up?
this keeps happening too, where like they just do not get Sasha skin tone right, and
They
like,
get Sasha and Yasmin's skin tones tend to shift a lot because they're the ones
what?
that are more of color.
Yeah, which is like really frustrating. I bet it's really frustrating for those who are people of color watching that because it's just like, come on, like this is my character that I can kind of relate to. Which, I mean, face it, in media, like there's not as many characters made. Like for the most time, it's
Yeah.
white, and like things are changing now, which is great. But at the time,
Which, to be
this
fair,
is
though,
like,
admittedly with Bratz, it was pretty progressive that they
yeah,
had like
but
4
stop
different
fucking it
ethnicities.
up. Like, come
Well,
on.
I will say it probably wasn't malicious. It's probably just because the animation was cheap and they fucked up because it was
Yeah.
probably done overseas and they
I
probably did
also
not care.
don't believe that anything was quality checked. I
No.
think they just did it and they were like, good, done.
They
Ship
shot
out
these
the
things out
Bratz movie.
to make a buck and make
Because
some
none of these
dolls.
had theatrical releases. Let's just put these were all direct to TV. None of
Yeah.
these were. The only one that has a theatrical release was the live action, which we'll get to next time.
Yeah. But yeah, Girls Really Rock.
Really sucks.
Part of me wanted to call it the worst one, but it was still more interesting than the Trucker movie somehow.
Yeah.
The Trucker one is just stupid.
Oh my god. I just made the connection of why it's a musical. This was their Camp Rock ripoff.
Ah. Also,
I just put that together.
This one, so I bought all the Bratz video games for an eventual episode because I know we'll do that eventually. I didn't buy the one off this movie because it was a rhythm game. And I'm like, that's stupid. I'm not buying that.
Wait, when did this come out?
2008.
Camp Rock came out 2008.
Yep, that's perfect.
Yep, that's why. This is the Camp Rock ripoff. That makes so much sense now. Oh, that's so. I didn't make that connection, but in my brain, I was suddenly just like, wait a minute. Camp Rock. Camp Rock. I always see that clip of them like where they're like awkwardly like stomping and clapping and chanting at another camp, and they're just going Camp Rock. And it's the weirdest fucking thing, and that scene goes on for way too long. It's weird as hell.
See, if I'm gonna watch a fucking movie that has rock in the title from that, not that era, but around that time period, I'm gonna watch School of Rock.
Yeah,
because at least School of Rock was good.
Anyways, yeah.
Moving on though,
Camp Rock.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one, we get Pampered Pets.
Which this one also fucking sucked.
This one is the most forgettable, I will say, because
it was just well, this one's entire purpose was to sell dogs with pets, and these ones too, in my mind, were to sell their own version of a Littlest Pet Shop.
Yes.
Look at those designs. Aren't those Littlest Pet Shop-esque? This was their way of going, hey, buy the doll and buy this. Because at the time, Littlest Pet Shops were probably still the shit.
Also, keep in mind, too, all of the movies we're covering today. So all the ones we covered before in the previous episode were pre-live action movie. All of these ones are post-live action movie. So the franchise is bleeding money by this point. Like it is, they are in life support before the eventual lawsuit that took them off the market would happen. So yeah, the also the TV series apparently I just want to put into context that aired from 05 to 08, so during the movie period.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. But yeah, so Pampered Pets there was actually a gap in between Pampered Pets and
I believe they probably released some of the Bratz Kids / Bratz Babies movies in between. So they were probably still pumping out content, but
only one actually. Huh. There was Bratz Babies Save Christmas right after Girls Really Rock, but then the rest of the movies were right after that. That being said, we're not talking about the Bratz Babies movies, and we'll tell you why when we get to the last movie.
This one's also a musical.
It is, but it's even less memorable.
Yes. Well, the description says, Bratz Pampered Pets is a Bratz musical with Latin pop flavor. Which this one, only thing Latin about it was they said like the same like Spanish word about 80 times. Like it was just, they said this one phrase 80 times, and that was about all it was.
The only other subplot in this one is HOAs are evil.
Yeah, that really was it. Like, they centered around this old lady who used to be like a famous singer or something. She was like a celebrity, but now she was like old and just wanted to live in her house with all of her.
With
She
her
was the old lady who lived in the shoe with all of her pets.
thousands of pets, like to the point
Yes.
where I kind of agree with the town being like, you can't have
You're
all these
kind of
pets.
siding with them. Um,
Also, keep in mind too, we didn't bring it up in the last film, but every one of these movies, I kind of root for the Tweebles because they're the most interesting characters at this point.
and they weren't in this one, right?
No, they weren't. That's honestly the
Which
ones
I
they're
feel
not
like is
in.
why it makes this worse. We need Tweevils.
Ironically, the ones that they're not in are this one and the Fashion Pixies. And the Fashion Pixies is a
Were
oh,
they in the I don't
they,
think they were in the other one too.
they were in Genie Magic.
No, but they weren't in Desert Jewels.
Yeah, they were. They were in the other truck. Oh no, not Desert Jewels. You're right,
Yeah.
Desert Jewels.
You're
Sorry.
thinking of Diamonds.
Forever Dime. These names are stupid. Yeah, they weren't in that.
Yeah. I think the whole goal of this one was to throw a concert but that's also an adoption event. I believe that was the full goal.
And the villain is some like neighbor that owns like the
HOA
adjacent
president.
Well, he owns the adjacent property and he's basically trying to get her kicked out so he can steal her property and develop it, basically. It's this is a story that's been told time and time again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just dumb. Like there's
I mean, this one was made to sell the brats with toys.
That's the pets. And those pets are horrifying, by the way.
Yeah. They're very Littlest Pet Shop-esque, but terrifying.
You had a few of the pets.
Yeah, I think I just kind of lumped them in with the Littlest Pet Shops. I think because they looked so similar, it was just kind of like, all right, whatever. These ones will go here.
Imagine a dog with a Bratz face, and that's basically what you get.
Yeah.
I do remember too. There was like a whole family drama subplot where like the
well, yeah, like the singer lady, I guess, just hadn't been talking to her daughter, and her daughter was like a weather person or something. Was it like that? Or like a business person?
She was a business lady, and because we pointed out because one thing about these Bratz
the boyfriend from Europe was the weatherman.
Well, that was way early. That was an earlier episode,
but
they have a tendency to reuse character models a lot. And
yeah,
this one
and hers was just the evil lady from Genie Magic.
The Shigo lady, the I Can Fix Her lady. It was just her, but like Latino, basically.
After the live action, they really were probably doing these as cheaply as possible. So like
what's funny though is this one isn't even the worst case because we'll get to later.
Desert Jewels is the fucking worst one for this.
The whole plot goes on where they're like constantly like trying to like make this whole adoption out. They're like, it's like you have to get rid of these pets or else you lose your house. And eventually it gets to like this end climax where like he's like, well, you're still gonna lose your house because I did some shithousery in the background. And it's like, you have too many pets, so I win. And then the daughter comes back and it's like, I'll take that one pet.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, I own this property, so you can't have it.
And that's it. And there was a lot of songs, and they just, I swear, they only used one Spanish phrase the whole time. I can't remember what it was.
And also, this movie, out of all of them, I swear to God, the Bratz have the least amount to do with anything in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of just inserted themselves into this issue, and like it really didn't have much to do with them. Like they just kind of were like, all right, well, let's just help this random lady, I guess, who used to be a singer.
Like none of this had anything to do with anything. It was so bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was probably my least favorite just because I'm not gonna say worst because we'll get to worst, but this was probably the one that I was just like the most like I don't care.
It's funny. Well, okay, Diamonds is rated the worst, and this one is rated the second worst in terms of the adult Bratz.
Yeah,
non-kid or baby ones. One of the baby ones is apparently the worst, but this one's second worst. Adult one. Oh, just kidding. The live action one.
Well, that doesn't count. The live action's its own monster. But
Yes.
I will say I'd probably watch the Diamond one over this just because
The Diamond was fucking funny.
well, it was so
Because
stupid.
it's the Tweevils. The Tweevils really brought
Then
that
just
together.
the idea that they're driving fucking big rigs across the country. I'm like, what? I'm like, these are high school kids. No way. Because they forget they're high school kids. This is like one of the ones where they forget they're fucking high school students. They're just here.
Yes.
And then after that, we watched the Wilderness movie, which was essentially
it
5
wasn't
episodes.
actually a movie.
Yeah, it was a bunch of episodes from the TV series, which we initially said we weren't going to watch, but then we ended up watching this by accident. And we said, "Fuck it, I guess we'll talk about it."
Yeah.
It was a bunch of movies centered around being in the
TV shows, not movies.
Episodes of the TV show centered around being in the forest, and they bring back subplots from like Rock Angels at points. Like the British guy comes back.
Yes.
Oh, I will remember though when Cam came back finally from his
Cucky.
Yeah, we were like, Cucky's back.
That was the one saving grace. Cucky was back.
Then just like they tied in a lot of elements from like Rock Angels into these for some reason.
Well, because I think the show took place after Rock Angels.
It ran from 05
canonically
to 08, so it was probably around that point because they don't really reference Genie Magic or anything.
Well, it's also just in how the story, I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
After Rock Angels, but it still wasn't good. But
no.
It was bad. It wasn't a musical, so we didn't have to listen to shitty musical numbers. But
there was an entire subplot about them camping. And like Chloe being disgusted that she has to pee out in the woods, and it's like, what do you expect? Like,
yeah,
there ain't just toilets out there.
The boys like get lost in the woods, and they're like stranded in the rain at one point, which was pretty funny.
That was and their thoughts were, I guess we'll just wait it out by sleeping under the fucking downpour, no shelter. And I'm just like, you guys,
like they're not very bright. They're not very bright.
We also got some great Tweebles and Birdine moments.
They're like
the best characters because like they just
are
at this point, which is fucked up but funny.
The last movie we're gonna talk about is where they're truly the best.
Yeah, well, because the Tweebles appear in Girls Really Rock, but before that, like Birdine's last appearance was her going insane and after the truck thing.
Genie Magic.
Well, no, during the Diamonds.
Oh, the truck Diamonds, yeah. Not Diamonds.
She went insane with the trucker in the trap of the trucking stuff and then disappeared.
Yes. Well, because she thought they were aliens. But then it turned out it was just an elaborate prank from the action TV Byron, who's also a spy, which I'm also going to bring up again. Because they write that out in like the last movie, which also just doesn't make sense. But anyways, anything else about Pampered Pets?
Oh, you mean Wilderness?
Oh, Wilderness Adventure, yes. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. It was just like a bunch of the TV episodes that they called a movie.
Haphazardly, because they all had a recurring theme. Because apparently that show had arcs, but
apparently.
But yeah, not good, but somehow better than the last few. So that's saying something.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on now to Desert Jewels.
Katya's back. The girl from the Genie movie.
Yeah, this is like actually no, a couple others appear later, but this was like one of the first real like reappearing character, voice and everything.
Yeah. And more importantly, Katya's dad reappears. Yeah.
Although he had a much different voice, and somehow he came off creepier.
Yes, my daughter. Or what was it? What did he say that really creeped you out? My sweet.
My sweet.
That was it. Whenever he said my sweet, Bill was like, ugh. He gave him the
way he said it. It was just
yeah. This one was very this one actually did have a story, but they also had we kept bringing up it had a lot of like rapey moments.
Ugh. So
was
the main
bad. Like I was like,
the main plot in this is they're having a fashion show in because apparently they're just in Egypt.
well, no, Katya's family is there, so that's why they're there. Because her family's from there, and it might be it might not have. Did they specifically say Egypt?
They're in the fucking desert, like
they're in the desert somewhere
with camels, and it's very clearly supposed to be
the
Sahara.
Somewhere in a desert country. I don't want to specifically say one because we don't fucking know. It's the Bratz universe. They're there. They're throwing a fashion show. And Katya's like, yeah, you can use my family's rug. And they're like, did you get permission from your dad? And she's like,
no.
Yeah. No. And she didn't. And then it turns out why is because the rug, why they're there doing the fashion show is because her dad is putting a bunch of items in the museum for like a genie exhibit, I guess. But the rug was supposed to go in there, but they were using it for the show. But then what happens is some spy lady, thiefing lady, breaks into the museum where the other items are stored, and she steals a ring. And the ring gives you the power over the rug. So the rug that shouldn't have any magic because they're no longer genies, there's no more genie power left, still has magic for some reason. Why? I don't know. They wanted to make another Arabian Nights theme movie.
They just wanted to reuse the Katia and her dad models.
Yeah, and also they wanted to sell dolls that had the aesthetic. That's basically it. They wanted to sell the aesthetic, and they could throw Katya in and then sell more Katya dolls. Because I will say, Katya is one of the more, I'd say, prettier dolls. I had a Katya doll from the original movie, and I feel like she's one of the more fun, prettier side characters.
The poor girl from friggin' the Diamonds movie never comes back though.
No, she wasn't relevant. But anyways, they're doing the fashion show, and suddenly, rug flies away. They're all on the rug, and they end up going into this cave where they meet the thieving girl and rapey man.
So the fact that they all get pulled away on the rug is legit the only reason the Bratz have anything to do with this fucking plot. Because they literally are just here again.
Yeah. They don't necessarily insert themselves into it this time.
No, they just get kind of
dragged into it.
They're in there because they're Katya's friend. Because the main plot, even Katya is just mostly a plot device in this one. The main plot is about the thief girl who has the most backstory, I think, out of any side character yet.
Yes.
And then this guy who doesn't
even though you don't really care. You don't really give a fuck about her side story.
And then this like guy who his model doesn't even fucking match any other thing. It does not
look like a Bratz character, and he looks dirty. Like he always just looks kind of grubby compared to all the other models. And he has this face that just says, "I'm gonna touch you inappropriately."
Yeah, it's very
that's what his
off-putting.
Face is like,
He does the hand thing.
Yes, he does like the grabby hands at one point. Like everything he does is screaming sexual predator to me. I'm just saying. And like that's why there's so many. That's why I said earlier. There's so many moments where you're like, that doesn't look or sound right, sir. Get away from those teenagers. And he's also a murderer. Too.
Yeah, because he murdered thief girls.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, who cares?
Fucking watching these.
Murders the thief girl's parents at one point.
Yeah, but before we get to there, there's a whole plot of like, Katya knows how the power works, so they kidnap her, and the thief girl is pretty pissed about it because she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my reward to this genie bitch. Even though genie bitch is like, I ain't helping this weird guy. He looks kind of sexual predator like. And then the other girls are like, oh my god, we gotta follow her. And then they meet this weird ass lady who has like a really bad stereotypical nose, and a bunch of camels. And she's like, you want the camels? You gotta give me something. And they're like, you want it? You can't have it, but you can see it. And then she's like, I want this. And they're like, no. And then she's like, I want it. And they argue for a bit. And then eventually they give it to her. It's stupid. But they have camels now. And they go
one
across
of the
desert.
camels dies.
Yeah, at one point, yes. Because at one point they run into the guy and the creepy molester man. And the thieving girl.
In the one scene from this movie that sticks with me is there's a scene where like the desert starts opening up, and Chloe and Yasmin, I think, are on
I think so.
one of the camels, and like Yasmin is like hanging from the edge, and they're so concerned about Yasmin. And the whole time I'm like, Chloe's down in the pit. And then they're like, oh wait, Chloe, we'll save you.
We forgot the dumb blind.
And then they never eventually save her using the power of friendship, because by this point they've befriended the thief girl, with Talk no Jutsu. And
they did talk to the dad at one point too, because the dad's aware because
they somehow got cell service in the fucking middle of the desert.
Yes, so he knows, and he's trying. He doesn't really do much. He's like, I got to help my daughter, and then does nothing until the end, which the end is kind of against his will. So at some point they all reconvene and they meet up, and
we didn't talk about they rescue Chloe from the pit, and then she goes, the camel, and then we see the camel fall to its apparent death, and I'm just like, they just murdered a camel in the middle of this movie.
It gave me flashbacks to my horse Pokemon who fell off the cliff.
And Scarlet
gave me some flashbacks. But after that, there's like the climax, which is they're in a cave where there's a genie lamp, because even though they said they live in genie bottles, there's also a genie lamp. Canonically, who fucking cares? Does it make sense? No, but they don't fucking care.
Also, the greatest example of reused assets. Kadia's dad is in a taxi, and the taxi driver is just straight up the villain from Genie Magic.
Yeah,
and they don't acknowledge it. The same.
It's literally the same. They did not change him at all. It's literally Khan. I think his name was Khan from that stupid Genie Magic movie, and they literally changed nothing. Like they didn't do shit.
They don't even acknowledge it. I'm just like, out of all the characters they could have picked, they picked that one.
Yeah. So they do that, and then he like disappears mid taxi ride because
he got summoned.
The genie lamp summons him, and he's a genie again, even though he lost his genie powers because they broke the bottles. But fuck that last movie, it doesn't matter. This is now where he becomes a genie. But the gimmick is like if they don't like do something, like he'll be a genie forever again, but trapped in the lamp. I don't fucking know. Who fucking cares? And like the girl wants her wish, and then she wishes to know who killed her parents, because that's a plot point now. And then she's like, "Oh my god, rapey man killed my parents."
Of course it is. Who else would it be?
Who else would it be? More grabby hands and creepy smile.
But then of course she wants to kill him, but they're like, "No, don't. Save my dad."
This is a Bratz movie. Yeah.
And they end up using the final wish in the end to free Kadia's dad.
Oh, and then the stupidest part is the girl's like, well, I guess I'm alone now because my parents are dead. And Kadia's dad goes, my sweet, you can be my daughter
now.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I guess
that just works,
so.
I guess.
But also, like, kind of weird. What are you doing, Mr. Katia's dad, sir?
Well, no, he's not. He's just. He's like,
Katia.
Katia has friend now.
Yes. Be her friend or we kill you. Just like your parents. Anyways. And then they have a fashion show again.
Hooray.
And that's it. But the dad gets to join in the show, and the new sister. And guess what? We'll probably never see Katia again, because fuck that bitch and fuck that family. But hey, we sold some more toys.
Alex was like, Katia was the pretty one. I like Katia. And then by the she's like, fuck that bitch.
Fuck these movies. They all suck.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the last one, because holy shit.
What would you? So what were your did you like Desert Jewels more than?
Only in the sense that it had a cohesive plot, but the movie was still garbage.
I will say the creepy man kind of made it funny at times, but also terrifying that this was.
It was funny at first, and then it just got weird.
Yeah, it did get weird.
Also, the desert camel lady just comes back at the end with the camel. She's like, "Oh yeah, it wasn't dead; it was an illusion. Here's your shit back, because I'm just here to be a jokester."
Yeah, look at my stereotypical nose.
I was probably made for another movie, and they're just recycling assets,
Yes.
like that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, this movie wasn't good though. I did not.
Yeah. Wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend any of these.
No.
But next, Bratz Go to Paris.
Go to Paris, which this movie I'm convinced was originally a set of episodes for a season 2 of that show, or like a season 3. But I don't know how many seasons it ran for. But
it was not supposed to be before Genie Magic. Let's just go in terms of the story, because at this one of the big points is like spy man / celebrity TV host shows up and is like, I'm a spy. And they're like, oh my God, he's a spy. And I'm like, you guys already know he's a spy. It was in the Genie Magic movie. You already knew about this. You had spy gadgets, cycling the same gadgets. You know this. So I guess they just forgot, or they just said, fuck it. Let's just do this. So
they did not care. The writer was like, fuck it.
They didn't give a shit. But apparently that's a plot point, and it pissed me off because I was
also,
like, they already knew this.
This was the movie where you could tell what little budget they had was gone, because this is the one where like the fucking skin tones whack out, like the animation looks rough as shit. The quote
it's
unquote
also just like, what the fuck?
The quote unquote villain of the movie has like highlighter hair. Like,
yes,
it's bad.
But the girls are going to Paris because they're gonna help with a fashion show, but they're also gonna be spies because everyone's getting poisoned at the fashion show, and this poison isn't like normal poison, it just kind of ages you. And oh my God, a wrinkle.
Ages.
Zombies. It's weird. Called them more zombies.
It makes them look like pale and like decrepit, but then they can't like move properly, but like they're still like teenager bodies.
Zombie.
Because there's no literally there's no unattractive women in these movies. Like, it's all there's the men on the other end.
But yeah, they end up going to Paris, and the
before that,
are also in this movie.
They are Anne Berdine, and because she's back, but
Berdine is best character.
Honestly, I vibe with them now, but I will say, like, before we get to their actual going to Paris, there's this whole like training montage where he's like, Byron's like, I can only take 2 of you, so you have to decide. And of course, this causes another fucking fallout between the girls.
This is also the one with like the unnecessary flashbacks of them as babies.
Oh yeah. Yes.
The babies' designs are fucking horrifying. They don't wear shoes, which bothers me. But also they are just hideous. They are the most disgusting character models I've ever seen.
Weeble babies too, and I was like, oh.
And they are especially ugly.
This movie also gets meta because they acknowledge the fact that Yasmin doesn't do anything.
Yes. They also give like little babies motorized motorcycles.
And Yasmin fucking crashes, and I'm like,
and none of the girls go back and help her.
No, they don't. And I'm like,
as babies. It's a plot point later. But they just keep throwing in these unnecessary flashbacks, which are just like, okay, please get the cursed babies off the screen. And then like it's just them like kind of training and like testing because Byron's like, only one girl's going with me to Paris. And then at one point he goes, okay, only 2 girls. And they're like, oh, fuck you girls. Like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to Paris. And they're all like fighting. And then at the end, their last test is a motorcycle race. Flashback. And Yasmin once again fucks up and spins out. But this time, instead of driving away,
go back to save her.
And then Byron goes, yeah, guys, that was the test. You all passed. It was the power of friendship and teamwork along the way. And I got to say, fuck you, dude.
No, I think he just wanted to watch them work out. That was really about it.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck you, dude. You were just being creep.
Also, that scene of them working out at the gym in fucking like designer jeans. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
All in jeans and like just bejeweled belts and like none of them had their hair up. Like they're all in styled hair. I'm just like, who fucking works out like this? No one.
Jade didn't know how to work an elliptical.
That weird fucking where she's just like it was the most jolted animation ever.
Yeah, Jade was doing that like Fucking
Sasha
Yasmin was just fucking
kickboxing.
pumping. She was pumping iron. No, not Sasha. Yasmin was pumping iron. Sasha was kickboxing.
Yes, Sasha
And
was
Chloe
kickboxing. That's what I said.
and Chloe was just awkwardly walking on a treadmill.
Yes, and like this scene goes on for way
Goes.
too long.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie that go on.
You could
way
tell
too
they
long.
were stretching it out.
The fashion scene from Desert Jewels that went on way too long.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, so eventually they go to Paris and they meet the designer, who's this fat meatball looking man.
And Alex was like,
who's
Alex straight up was like Harvey Weinstein, and I'm just like.
what? Wait, no, it was like a scene where like it made sense.
Well, no,
It
he
made
was
sense
leering.
why.
He was leering towards Jade, and this is the perfect point because, like, this shows where me and Alex's brains were going at the time. Alex, we said this at the same time too, which is hilarious. Alex goes, "Oh, it's Harvey," and my response was, "He's gonna eat her."
I mean, not wrong.
Yeah.
Just say gross. Anyways,
Just
you know
like-
what he also kind of looked like? I thought about this later. Did you ever see that movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
Yes, the first
And
one. I
like
never
the
saw
mayor,
second one.
the mayor who became like a meatball. He also kind of had that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, honestly though, best character, the fashion
Well, no.
designer man,
He was up there, but also like we had to talk
redhead
about
Berdine
Redhead Berdine, like her twin.
with the what the fuck accent.
Okay, yeah. So she was supposed to be a French character, but they gave her this really offensive Asian voice.
Yeah. It
Like-
was like I think they were trying to be French, but also they were like, "Hey, you gotta sound like Berdine, but kind of be French." And it just turned into a very stereotypical Asian, like very insulting. And it was like, "Oof!" Every time she talked, it was oof.
I was sitting here watching it. I'm like, who like listened to that and went, "That's good."
But also, her character was very much pointless.
Well, it was for one joke where they joke where Berdine shows up and it's like you, and we find
Yeah,
out that
and apparently
Berdine was
they knew each
apparently
other?
Berdine was apparently a spy, an international spy at one point.
Which was just like what it was literally she was only there for one scene. And they framed her for poisoning them, even though it wasn't her. And that was it. That's really all she had to the
I
story.
did get a laugh about the backstory between her and Berdine, though, where like they were on a mission together, and Berdine got distracted by shoes
and then the
that,
other one
that were
got her ass
identical to the one she was already wearing, by the way.
Yes, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, and then the girls end up working in the fashion show because there's like no models, so they get hired. And like Harvey ends up taking a real liking to Jade, but he also kind of insults her at that. He's like, "You've got a non-usual beauty to you," and she's like, "Thanks." And it's like I feel like that's kind of an insult. Like it's like she's not usually the girl I think is pretty, but I guess you're kind of pretty, is what he's saying. And there's this other girl, I can't remember her name, but she was like red hair. She had the highlighter hair.
The villain of this movie. And also my favorite
clearly the villain.
Yeah. My favorite subplot of this movie though is so Cucky shows back. This is like Cam's first movie appearance since the first movie, since Rock Angels.
My theory is that they made this movie to write off the canonity of all the other movies after Rock Angels.
Maybe,
That's my theory. They got rid of the mythical creatures and the genies.
What's insane is though, like, so in the first movie there was the plot where Chloe's obsessed with the fucking British guy and just cucks Cam the entire movie.
This time, Cam, Chloe is the cuck. Roles are reversed.
Yeah, because like Cam immediately, like the fucking highlighter girl immediately starts macking on Cam and just being disgusting and like
she's
gross
like
about
pissed
it.
that the Bratz came in and are like stealing her spotlight. And she's like, "Well, fuck you, I'm gonna win."
But the best part is Chloe's like, "What the hell? Why is this happening to me?" Like, Chloe, you've ignored him and just not given a shit for 5 movies. Like,
yes.
What do you expect?
Yes.
There's also a weird subplot with like
Sasha
where Sasha has a love interest for like.
Yeah, well, because Roxy, they just throw Roxy in there for some reason.
Yeah, she's back.
But her only plot point is because she has a band member who ends up being Sasha's romance. And there's no point of this. Like, this whole side plot could have not been in the movie, and it would have been exactly the same. There would have been no difference in terms of plot. This was stupid and a waste of time. It was filler. They need to fill the multi-hour time slot, even though it was barely an hour. It was an hour and 1 minute, barely. But yeah, so that happens. But the main plot is like at some point they find out, oh my god, well, Yasmin actually kind of does something for once and like does spy work, and who's trying to poison Jade because Jade is getting attention from Harvey. So she tries to poison her, and Yasmin catches her and then chases her, and then they find a hair, and it happens to be Bardeen Lady's hair, but it's not Bardeen Lady, who is the redhead Bardeen, very Asian stereotypical lady hair. So she gets framed, and then they eventually realize, oh my god, it's not her, and then Jade gets poisoned and thrown into a basement by highlighter hair, which is really fucking weird. And then the same thing happens to Chloe.
Well, Chloe
tries to save her.
Well, see, Jade drinks the drink because like it was like a whole, oh, here's some water. It's like, oh, it's poison because yeah, fun. Fucking Chloe gets like her fucking head ripped open and just dumps the water down her throat, and I'm just like, okay,
what the fuck is this movie? And yeah, and then eventually, Yasmin and Sasha are like, where did they go?
And then we get the best scene in the movie, where highlighter hair is trying to escape with them, and she's just dragging their corpses across the ground to this getaway car as like Yasmin and Sasha slowly walk towards them to stop them.
Yes.
And the
real effort they're putting in there.
She's unable to start the car, so her response is, "I'm just going to turn off the parking brake and send it down this cliff."
Yeah. So then they split up. Sasha's gonna go after highlighter hair, and Yasmin's gonna go stop the car, which she does, and she pulls them out.
And then they have rocket shoes.
Yeah, they do. They almost fall off a cliff, and they have rocket shoes, and I guess they're fine. And then Sasha ends up beating highlighter hair in a fight. She is spy training, and highlighter hair is just a fashion model. And then they have the fashion show.
Yeah.
And Cucky and Chloe end up getting back together.
And then
he's like, I'm sorry.
And then Sasha and what's his face make up because they had a falling out for some reason.
Because she thought he cheated. It really had no relevance to the plot. It was stupid. But yeah, that happened. And then like that's it.
It just ends, yeah.
There's no song. Thank God. There's no songs. It's just that. But Byron's like, yeah, we saved the day. Thanks, my spy girls. You're hot. That's it.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Then shortly after that, the franchise was discontinued because they were sued.
Well, after that, that's it. That's the last one. Good.
Is it bad that the last one was the most entertaining because it was so
It was so
bad?
stupid, yeah. Honestly, it kind of out of the ones that we watched for this session, well, 2 because we couldn't watch this all in one session. Yeah, that it was the most entertaining. I would say it would be this one, Really Rock, Desert Jewels, and then Pampered Pets.
Yeah. We'll rank them all later, but
yeah, we'll do a tier list on the final episode where we talk about the live action, and then we'll rank them via tier list.
Sure will. Yeah, I don't know when we'll get to that because we have to find the movie, but
yes,
we will be covering
because you can't stream it anywhere.
I mean, who would want to stream that? That being said, we will be covering it.
And then we're going to move on to the Barbie movies, which I promise you are going to be a lot better. And we're also going to be a little more exclusive on which ones we watch. Mostly going to watch the ones that I actually grew up with. So
yeah,
it won't be the full Barbie retrospect. It's mostly going to be the storybook themed ones is what we're going to watch.
Yes.
But we're going to watch them. Oh. And then we'll finish it with the live action Barbie movie. To kind of like be fair, and then we'll watch it and be like, yeah, this is way better than the fucking Bratz movies. I promise they're gonna be better. They at least have coherent stories.
I hope so because this was a
Yeah, this was bad. These were
What?
really bad.
Yeah.
One more, and then we're
yeah.
done with Bratz. And then we'll do Barbie, and then we'll do My Scene. And then we'll do Bionicle.
Bionicle. Maybe we'll do Bionicle in between just as a break. But
A little palate cleanser.
yeah. But yeah, that was bad. I'm
I wonder if I can find them on YouTube.
What, the Bionicle movies?
Yeah.
I have all 3 of them on DVD.
I know, but then I could watch it easier because you already watched it. Bionicle movie.
Fair.
Bionicle, the chronological trilogy cut. It's all 3 of them in one. Is it just 3 that you have?
Yeah.
I literally found it on. Someone posted all 3 of them together.
Jesus.
It's like 3 hours. Does that make sense?
That sounds about right.
I'll send that to you.
But anyways, this was a lot. Well, once again, guys, thank you for joining us.
I'd rather watch Bionicle than these movies.
Those movies actually have plot and something going on for them.
Unfortunately, I'd rather watch those than this garbage.
But yeah, anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on Gaming Collecting. You can find Gaming Collecting on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out on the Superpod Network, awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different podcasts, videos, blogs, all sorts of fun stuff.
Shout one out. Shout out your favorite.
I don't want to play favorites because I like all of them, but I'll
GNC.
shout out
GNC.
Can't shout out our own show. I'll shout out Nave. Gaming Together, great show. Fine Time, great show. Remember 64, great show. Bar Silence, great show.
Geek Addicts.
Retro Wild.
No,
I don't want to. All the shows on the network are great.
I'm kidding. I'm just messing with Matt because he's trying to win, even though I was the winner last year, even though it wasn't a contest.
You watched a lot of garbage.
I did.
But anyways, guys,
many isekais. We talked about that last episode. Do you think the Bratz movies are isekais? Do you think there could be one? No? All right.
Write the fan fiction.
Right. Fuck yeah. Get started on my Cameron Cock.
Hell yeah.
With Harvey Weinstein.
On that note, guys, we'll see you all later.
I stepped in a fur ball and I'm